We know you're busy and that you can't always find the time to tune in live to the Daily Breakfast Show. So we've handpicked the very best of this past week's news, and together with our show sponsors MB Crusher, we're delighted to bring you the Weekend Wrap. In this week's show, Volvo delivers on its fossil-free promise. We have an Italmek attachment that eats axles for breakfast, and a giant Kobelco excavator goes to hospital in Rotterdam. All that and more on the Weekend Wrap. We have something of a first today. We're going to talk cranes, not once, but twice. As Tristan Mays of CraneHub.net alerted me to the first one, I'm pretty sure he's not worried about me stepping on his toes. And even if he is, he's on his travels at the moment, so he probably won't know. Now, while the first film features a crane company, the story itself is not about cranes. It's about sustainability.
Hey, I'm Matt Waddingham from Cabin Cranes. I want to talk about sustainability for a minute. Sustainability for us is about taking the long view. It's about following a set of values that look after people and make a positive impact on our communities and the world around us. But right now I want to talk specifically about environmental sustainability. I know it's easy to ignore. Our lives are okay, and it's a difficult thing to confront and accept, but we have to accept it because it's happening right now. Have a look around. The climate is changing in front of our eyes, and it's our responsibility. But once we accept it's our responsibility, we realise it's in our power to do something about it. But the time for action is slipping away. So let me tell you what cabins are doing. We were the first company in our industry to trial and switch to hydrotreated vegetable oil as an alternative to diesel for our crane fleet. Moving hundreds of tons of metal around the country every day takes a lot of fuel. And in 2019, we produced nearly 700 tons of CO2. So this is where we have concentrated our efforts. Our switch to HVO will see our CO2 drop below 180 tonnes this year, and our plan to roll this out across all our vans, trucks and sport vehicles will mean it drops below 50 tonne next year. And we're looking at so much more beyond that, trying to frame all of our decisions with our impact in mind. We want to lead our industry, we want to influence our suppliers, but also our competitors and our customers. We'll be publishing our sustainability roadmap later this year, and we want to be net zero by 2025 or earlier. But it ain't going to be easy. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to be concerned about, and there's a lot at stake. The wheels need to keep turning. We all need jobs, but that's the key to sustainability. And the challenge for cabins is not much different from the challenge for society. How do we look after each other? How do we look after our communities and the world around us to ensure that we continue to be here? And we love a challenge, don't we? I'm quite excited about it. I trust in the ingenuity of this company. I trust in the ingenuity of people to find the right solution. And how cool would it be if in 100, 200, 1,000 years, this generation was remembered as a generation that saved the world?
Were here about 9 months ago, and I know many of you were, you might recall that we brought you news of the world's first vehicle manufactured using fossil-free steel. The vehicle in question was a Volvo autonomous hauler that had been developed in conjunction with Swedish steel producer SSAB. Now, I've got to be honest, while I was impressed by Volvo taking such a stance and reducing the environmental impact of its equipment even before it's left the factory, I kind of assumed this was like one of those concept cars that they rolled out at the Geneva Motor Show. It looks cool, but it's never likely to see the light of day. I really should know Volvo better, shouldn't I? Not only has the company now used fossil-free steel in the manufacture of an articulated dump truck, that machine is now out and at work with an actual paying customer. And this is what it looks like.
My name is Roger Sandberg. I work as a commodity manager within purchasing Volvo CE Europe. I'm very pleased and proud standing in front of this unique A30G machine. This is the first ever vehicle produced in fossil-free steel and to be delivered to an end customer. Addressing climate changes is the most important task we have, and Volvo Group is determined to drive this transformation and not only talk about what we should do in the future. We want to act here and now and bringing a first fossil-free vehicle to a customer. This A30G has been built in normal processes at the Volvo CE site in Borås, Sweden, which actually was one of the first carbon-neutral production sites in the world. This unique A30G is produced by a fossil-free steel from SSAB, a company that shares our commitment to sustainability goals of Paris Agreement. Why is it important with fossil-free steel, you may ask? Steel in various shapes is surrounding us, and it's also important material for building our Volvo vehicles. Steel is a strong material and very suitable for recycling, but it's also a fact that steelmaking is a main contributor of global CO2 emissions, and to produce 1 ton of steel with traditional processes, it brings typically 2 tons of CO2 emission. For this reason, steel is also the main contributor for CO2 emission when producing a Volvo vehicle. But by using fossil-free steel in our vehicles, we will reduce carbon footprint a lot. Volvo Group has collaborated with SSAB on fossil-free steel since end 2020, and this partnership will enable us to start replacing traditional steel with fossil-free steel. And experience from this machine will support us when we ramp up to large-scale usage of fossil-free steel. This machine will be delivered to NCC, one of the leading construction companies in the Nordics and certified according Planet Mark. With speed and real-world solutions, we are moving from words to action, leading to this result. First vehicle ever, produced with fossil-free steel and delivered to a customer. What we have accomplished here is proving what we, within a short timeline, can achieve when we work cross-functional and in strong partnerships. This is an important step towards building the world we want to live in.
All the latest news, views, video and comment from the demolition and construction industry, live and interactive each weekday morning at 10 a.m. GMT. Tune in, take part on the Breakfast Show, live. Italy is home to some damn fine attachments manufacturers. Trevi Benny, Mantovani Benny, MB Crusher, Simex, VTN, and of course, it is home to our friends at Italmek.
silence. The dreadful quiet of nothing. No earth being moved, no concrete poured, no roads graded, nothing getting done. It's all wrong. Case, let's make some noise.
As you will know if you were watching last week, there are now two Kobelco SK1300 high-reach demolition excavators in Europe. One of them is currently being polished ahead of its debut at the Bauma show in October, but there is another that is already hard at work at a hospital in Rotterdam. And just before I press the play button, because that's the important bit, here is a comment from our friend Al Grierson, who has just returned from the Netherlands after a short break with his family. Back home again, only one digger spotted, and once it was too late, I found out that I was only an hour's drive away from the SK1300D's first demolition site. Very disappointing, Al. However, we've got you covered. Who fancies a trip to Texas? Let's face it, the temperature's about the same and there's no shortage of cowboys on this side of the pond either. So let's head for the Lone Star Strait for a little scraper action.
Hi, I'm Robert Mullins. I'm the owner of Sendero Construction Services. I'm the former owner of Romco Equipment Company, the K-Tech and Volvo dealer here in Texas. And now I'm the owner of Sendero Construction Services, a company that provides equipment operated rentals, mainly with the Volvo articulated truck pulling a K-Tech scraper.
By partnering with K-Tech, we've been able to effectively lower the cost per yard that we can provide to a contractor.
Our EOR program is a concept where the people that are renting the machine also provide the operator. And I felt that the operator training and the quality operator were so important to getting max production that we would go ahead and take over the responsibility of providing the operator So the customer knows that when a K-Tech and a Volvo articulated truck show up on his job site, he's going to have max productivity from the very beginning.
The Volvo tractors are running around 11 to 15 gallons an hour in fuel, and by application, we're usually seeing the lower half of that. And customers are finding that with today's market, that's a huge benefit to not only how they cost and bid their work, but what we can provide for them as a savings has become quite important to our marketability.
We feel that the K-Tech gives us the best flotation of any of the scrapers on the market today. With their big tire footprint that they have, plus the tire footprint of the articulated truck, that we've taken the scraper out of a sometimes can work into more of a it will work.
If I was to describe the K-Tech product, I would use in a single word, durable, but it's not limited to that. They're built superior for the construction market, and we put them to the test every day, and we're grateful for that strength of build and consistent, reliable piece of equipment. Sendero Construction Services is focused on the Texas market primarily, but we have jobs focused in New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas. We've even gone as far as Georgia, and we're continuing to look for the right applications for our equipment and our operator strengths.
The relationship with K-Tech has always been good. They're a company that takes pride in what they're doing. They care that the customer is having a positive experience with their product. And I've been extremely impressed in today's world that they still take that kind of old school pride and satisfaction in building the best scraper on the market.